The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cynder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits, so get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Greg Gorga, and Greg is the Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, I always love hearing what's happening at the Maritime Museum. You have so many fun and interesting things going on all the time, and it's always changing.
It is always changing. I don't even keep up with everything that's going on. Can't tell you how many times my staff will say, well, we're doing that already, Greg. And I'm like, really?
Oh gosh, you've got a great staff.
We really do. We've had a curator who's been with us for 12 plus years. Our Director of Education, Liz Perry, has been there for 10 years.
Oh, man.
And they are getting amazing things done.
That says a lot about your leadership. It says a lot about the culture of the organization. It's a fun place to work, I bet.
You know, we do call ourselves the Fun Museum. I think people don't realize that, you know, sometimes there's that impression of museums being very stodgy and quiet, and I don't think a lot of our new Santa Barbara museums are like that, but we certainly are not like that. We like to be the fun, family kind of based museum.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you've got a lot of new things going on. Why don't you tell us about some of them?
Sure. So let's start off with some of the exhibits. So we are opening up in January of 2023, the new year, kind of later January, an amazing photography exhibit by Dan Merkel. And Dan is local. He's really world famous for his surf photography and videography. So he's won an Emmy for his work on some surf films.
Wow.
And he's been on the cover of Surfer magazine. His photos have for a long time. He was photographing back in the 70s with Sean Thompson and the busting down the door era. Yeah. He's been an amazing photographer and still at it. In fact, right now, I don't know if you know, there's a giant wave in Portugal. So he's out there for 4 months photographing that. It's like a 90-foot wave. Don't go there to learn how to surf, okay? But he also photographs lighthouses. And so we're going to have a lot of 30 or so photographs of lighthouses all around the world, mostly in the United States, but some are international. And then also separately some wave photographs of his, of just these giant, amazing waves that are world famous. So I have one of his pieces at home. So
Do
really,
you?
Yeah, he did. I have this beautiful landscape of Portland Head, Maine lighthouse. It was the first lighthouse funded by President Washington. So just beautiful. His work is just incredible. So that's going to be really nice. It ties in because February 1st is the lighting of the Point Conception Lighthouse lens anniversary.
Nice. Yeah.
So I don't have the math, but it was first lit in 1856. And of course, we do have the 18-foot first order Fresnel lens in our museum.
Yes, you do, and it's so beautiful.
Exactly, yes. It's a work of art. I mean, if you have never been to the Maritime Museum, just to go see that piece alone, which I do believe is the most important maritime artifact in the Santa Barbara Channel, 624 pieces of glass. And we just had it cleaned not too long ago, because during COVID, it's hard to get a lampist here. I'm not allowed to touch that glass. There's only 5 or 6 people in the United States allowed to touch that glass. They're called lampists. They're certified by the United States Coast Guard because the Coast Guard still owns that lantern. We just take care of it for them. And so we bring somebody in from all over the world, all over the country, to clean it once a year at least. Yeah.
I bet other maritime museums are a little envious that you have that.
Well, to be honest, you're right, because you know, in Maine has a lot of lighthouse lenses. They have a lighthouse museum, and they have probably 30 or 40 lighthouse lenses, and the last time I checked, they did not have a first order. So the first order are the largest ones. So yeah,
oh my gosh.
And Point Conception, you know, the most dangerous waters on the West Coast. You know, the Honda disaster was not too far from there. So it is a special lighthouse lens, So that's Dan Merkel. So that'll be up for 5-6 months. After that, we have a local, not a local artist, an artist named Jovan Wang, who's going to be painting coastal California images, sort of like we did with Kevin Short. That's there in December. So he'll be coming in, I think, May or June. I'm not sure of the dates, but he's an amazing artist as well. So the exhibits, and then we're redoing our pilot house, which is you steer a boat in the harbor. So that's kind of older technology. So we're adapting it to the same boat, the Jack Tar, which was a local boat here, which ironically did shipwreck not too long ago. And so this is going to be a new shipwreck exhibit. So adults and kids are going to have to try to steer their boat through the Santa Barbara Channel, which is very dangerous. And I'm guessing most of the people will not make it. So it's a real authentic, again, it really gives you what a shipwreck experience could be like.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like fun. I'm going to have to go try that.
You know, I did this because we have a Council of American Maritime Museums. We do an annual conference. So I was up in near Green Bay, Wisconsin, Stone Harbor, Stone Point, I forget the name of it, but they had a similar exhibit. And you really do feel like you're rocking in the boat and you're trying to find the lighthouse to get through this, and these waves start crashing over the boat, and it's an amazing experience.
So it's like a virtual reality kind of thing.
Yes, similar to that, exactly.
Wow.
We even might have gotten the floor shaking, but we're not going to do that. Really, we're even spraying of water.
Yeah, that's good. You could add that.
You could, make it really authentic. So some exciting exhibits coming up, and then our education programs just are incredible. So, we continue to do Maritime on the Move, which is getting kids out to experience their local habitat. So for instance, when Carpinteria, we take the kids to the seal rookeries. We take them to where the tar is seeping up naturally out of the rocks. We go to the salt marsh there and teach them what that ecosystem, why it's important. And when we've done these programs with local kids in Carpinteria, whose school, so one of the schools is 3 blocks from that salt marsh, and more than half of them have never been in the salt marsh. And then we give them, we get them to say, you should bring the rest of your family here and then come visit the Maritime Museum. And so we do that for the Santa Barbara Harbor. We do that for Oso Flaco Lake. Have you been up there? It's in the Pomo kind of Guadalupe area.
No.
It's really neat. You can walk these boardwalks out to the ocean.
Oh gosh.
And there's bird life there and everything. And so this is great for kids. We do it with school programs, but also adults really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's and we're going to do it with some of our senior members as well.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it really is fun, especially to explore the harbor itself and really learn why there's a sand spit at the end of the breakwater, and what are all these big fishing boats doing, and what why are they here? So yeah, it's a really great program. It's downloadable on our website, SBMM.org, so families can do it at home. It's in English and Spanish for all 3 areas, the Carpinteria, Santa Barbara Harbor, and Oso Flaco Lake. So that program has won national awards. The American Alliance of Museums noted it as one of the most innovative education programs a couple years ago when we debuted it. The California Alliance of Museums voted it as one of the most best educational, sustainable education programs. And then our Council of American Maritime Museums conference asked our staff to present on it there. And then we're also doing in the classrooms a program called Whales Are Superheroes.
Oh yeah.
And our newest, I think you've seen this exhibit.
Yes, I have.
It's our newest permanent exhibit, and we talk about how whales help with climate change.
Yeah.
And so that program we take into the classroom. It's a STEAM education program, so it's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so we work with artist Sandra Weiss, who teaches the kids how to do whale art. We had Peabody School was so inspired, they did whale sculptures, which I think you saw as well. It was on display for a little while. And so that program is ongoing. We do a marine science program in January, February, where we get kids out on the water, and they can become hands-on marine scientists. They collect marine life, talk about it, touch it, feel it, put it back in the water. And you know this, I mean, so many of our kids, especially from Title I low-income schools, they've never even been out on the water.
Yeah.
They haven't, we had a 10-year-old from Cleveland School in Lower Riviera where the teacher said he hadn't seen the ocean. And certainly that's the case with some kids coming from Guadalupe, Orca, Santa Maria.
Yeah.
So, the Maritime Museum is all about getting all kids, no matter what their background and their finances are, out and experiencing our channel, because the Santa Barbara Channel is so unique. Yeah. And there's so much marine life there, and especially with the whales. I mean, 30% of the whales that are are seen all over the world come through the Santa Barbara Channel.
Really?
And so, to get kids that go out on a boat and actually see a whale in person and not on their video screen, I mean, that can be life-changing for people.
So let's say somebody's watching this and they're a parent and they're saying, oh man, that's pretty cool. How can I get my child involved in that? Do they go through the schools or they?
So a lot of our program is through schools or after school programs. So we work a lot with Boys and Girls Club, Girls Inc., different programs. In that Maritime on the Move program we did with City of Santa Barbara Parks and Rec nature camps. We're doing that program. And for those kids, the last 2 summers, no guarantees going forward. But the last 2 summers on a lot of those classes, 30% one year, half of them another year, a guy named Jean-Michel Cousteau would show up and talk about whales in the Santa Barbara Channel. So you imagine you're 10, 12 years old and you're hearing about whales from Jean-Michel Cousteau.
Gee
oh my God. So so a lot of it is through the schools and after school groups. That Maritime on the Move program is downloadable, so families can do it at home with their, not at home, but go out and follow that program themselves. And then you just come into the museum and experience the museum as well. So, there's lots of different ways to experience that program.
So you say come into the museum. I'm wondering, when you look at all the people that come into the museum, are most of them local? Are there a lot of people from out of town? Is it a mix?
It's a mix. Historically, we get about 2/3 of our visitation from out-of-towners.
2/3?
Yeah, which is sad because there's so many people in Santa Barbara who've never been to our museum.
Oh man.
And I think people would be surprised. We're not a big museum, but we do have almost 8,000 square feet of exhibit space. I hear every time from people that come in for the first time, like, wow, I didn't realize you had so much here. You learn so much about our local maritime history. And for a small town, Santa Barbara, 80,000 people, it's not a giant city.
Yeah.
We have so much history here, and it's so diverse. And so people say, oh, it's a maritime museum. I'm not interested in boats. Well, we cover surfing, shipwrecks, commercial fishing, commercial diving. I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. People that grew up here in this town don't realize that Santa Barbara is the leader in the world for deep water commercial diving. So the technology, the helmets, the diving bells, there are so many firsts that came out of this little town that revolutionized commercial diving for so many different industries. Certainly oil, but also, those divers are using those helmets for building dams, laying communication cables and pipelines and things like that. All that technology came out of Santa Barbara. The Lockheed brothers, one of their first planes was built here, and it was a seaplane. There's so much other history, the surfing with Rennie Yater and Al Merrick and Tommy Curran. So we have a great surf exhibit. Kids can jump up on a surfboard and pretend they're surfing. We have a picture of the wave out off San Miguel, which is also a 70, 80-foot wave, the Shark Park wave. And then the lighthouse and all that technology, and then all the art exhibits and the photography exhibits that we do. There's so much to learn about our local history. So I think locals, if you haven't been to the Maritime Museum, would be very surprised and will learn so much from there.
Yeah. Well, I've been there several times, and I learn something new every single time. It is an amazing place. Yeah, I would encourage everybody to go.
Thank you. And if you want to become an expert in our local history, we are about to start in January through March, I think, every year. We do a 10 to 11 week docent training program.
Oh boy.
And so those docents learn so much about our local history, and then they become docents on deck, so they walk the floors of our museum and help visitors and guests talk about some of the different exhibits and go deeper diving into certain exhibits. So we're always looking for new docents, so that docent program, and then there's so many volunteer programs, opportunities. I know that our 4th floor is a visitor center. It's a collaboration between the City of Santa Barbara, who owns our building, the Maritime Museum. We staff it with our volunteers, the Channel Islands National Park Service, and the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuaries. So somebody gets to sit up there and talk about our beautiful channel and all the opportunities to go explore that channel. And those volunteers have a beautiful view of the harbor, the ocean, and they get to have fun meeting people from all over the world. We get visitors because It is on the National Park Service maps. You can, they have that passport book. We actually stamped that book for visiting up there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so we get visitors from all over the world, especially pre-COVID and starting again now.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for volunteers up there, and then we have the Ranger, our 105-year-old sport fishing boat that's always looking for some care and love from our volunteers. So education
where
programs.
is that now?
The Ranger is right out in front of the museum.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah, Ranger. So that was donated by Jack Morehart to the museum before we opened our doors. It has, we're doing a little work on it, but we're hoping to take it out next week is the Parade of Lights.
Really?
Yeah, so it usually is the first boat in the Parade of Lights because it is the oldest boat in the harbor.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
There is so much going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, and guess what? I'm going to sign up for that docent program.
Wonderful. You would be a great docent.
I hope so.
We would love to have you as a docent. Yeah, and again, you know so much about our city already, but we were, the only way to get to Santa Barbara in the day was by boat, you know, so. And our maritime history goes back thousands of years with the Chumash and the tamals and that special technology, because those plank canoes were unique. The Chumash were one of only 2 civilizations in the world building plank canoes. So
really?
So the other being in southern Chile. So a lot of questions how those 2 civilizations developed that same technology. But those things were so unique and still are today. The Chumash are still building those today.
Are they?
And they're planning to build. We had Alan Salazar at the museum last month talking about the Chumash maritime history here in Santa Barbara. And he announced that I think Patagonia is sponsoring the building of a few more tamals. And they take them out to the islands once a year. They try to get out there once a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they, a whole bunch of them go at the same time?
Oh, yeah. Well, one tamal usually at a time. They maybe have done 2 or 3, but those tamals take 4 to 6 to 8 people to paddle, and that's a long voyage, so they actually switch paddlers along the way. It's hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really neat to see those in the water. It is amazing.
Bet.
And they're so durable, they're so navigatable. They do really well in the water. Even the Spanish, when they came through here, commented about how maneuverable those vessels were and how well they are designed and built. And the carpenters that were building those tamals did so on a beach just east of here. So when the Spanish came through here and saw that, they named that beach Carpinteria.
Oh.
So that's where Carpinteria gets its name.
I did not know that.
See, that's one of the little things you learn going through the Maritime Museum and going through the docent program.
Oh my gosh, I can hardly wait.
Yeah, there's just so much of that history here that is just incredible.
Okay, so now you've mentioned the website a couple of times. I just want to make sure I'm clear. So the Maritime Museum is a 501c3 nonprofit. People can make tax-deductible donations. And so they can go on your website and do that if they want.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of ways to support us as a Maritime Museum. So certainly being a volunteer there, but you can be a member, and that gives you free membership. It also gives you, our memberships start at $45 for an individual. With every membership, and a whole family is $75, and that's generational, so you can bring grandchildren in. With every membership, you get, oh my gosh, it's well over $100 worth of discounts throughout the harbor. So you get like 10% off at Anchor Rose, the new restaurants in our building. You get discounts at paddle sports, at the deep water diving, on some of the boats like the Condor Express, the best whale watching boat in Santa Barbara. You get a discount on that, on the Sunset Kid. So buying a membership at the Maritime Museum gives you not only free admission, discounts, and little receptions before our monthly lectures, because we do a monthly lecture. It has so many other benefits. And then certainly making a donation, you can do that on the website very easily, click of a button. And that's how we're able to do these education programs and do them free of charge to Title I schools. None of that work could be possible without the support of our donors.
Oh, bad.
And then you also, another big way to support the museum, and it's also very easy to do, is to leave a legacy by naming us in your planned giving.
Oh, that's good.
And you could leave a percentage of your life insurance policy, a percentage of your IRA, and then you become a member of our flagship society if those gifts are $10,000 or more. And you know, that's a way for people, maybe not a lot of means, to really make a long-term legacy gift to an organization. And certainly we'd appreciate it if that was the Maritime Museum, at least one of those organizations.
That would be,
because those are changing the future sustainability and growth of the museum.
Yeah.
We've gotten a few of those in the past that have really turned things around for the Maritime Museum.
Oh, that's great. So now while we're on the website, we can also look and see about volunteer opportunities.
Absolutely.
We can see programs and all kinds of things that are coming up.
You can learn about exhibits that are opening up, events that are happening. You can become if you're a donor, you want to give at any level is greatly appreciated. But at the $1,000 level or more, you become a member of our Navigator Circle. And we do cocktail parties on our beautiful patio in the summertime, spring, fall, and summer. And those are free to our Navigator Circle members and a small charge to our members. So that's, and there's lots of other things we do for our members, and especially our Navigator Circle members, free to our lectures. And so, you know, we do a really wonderful monthly lecture series, and that's all on our website. And you can go back on our website and see all the past lectures.
Oh.
Like we just had Alan Salazar talk about the Chumash Maritime Association, and now I believe that's up on our website. And so there's literally probably 100 lectures on our website.
So the actual lecture is on there?
Absolutely.
That's cool. So like, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm out of town and I can't go to the lecture. I didn't know it was on there. I'm going to have to go explore that website a little more.
There's a lot of information. And I did a little, during COVID, little tours, little videos of a lot of the different exhibits, not all of them. And there's a tool on the website. You can translate that into whatever your native language is.
Oh,
so
man.
if it's Spanish, Chinese, whatever, you can do that on the website as well. And then we have QR codes when you come in to visit the museum, a little map that you can get a little deeper dive and listen to those videos that we did about each exhibit, because there's only so much you can put on a text panel. And so I talk a little bit more about each of those exhibits. And those, the QR codes, you can translate those into any language as well.
That technology is amazing.
It really is incredible. I'm not sure how good the translation is, but I think it's good enough to get a good understanding of what's being talked about.
Wow. So, you know, we have a couple minutes left. And is there another message, additional information you'd like our audience to know about the Maritime Museum?
Sure, I think there's just so many things always happening at the Maritime Museum. So another thing, when you get on the website, on the very front page, at the very bottom, you can sign up for our email alerts.
Oh, that's good.
Or our social media. You know, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. But really getting our weekly updates about what's happening at the museum. All it is your name and email address. We don't sell that to anybody.
That's good.
But you know, we do so many different things. So we have sea glass festivals. Like we little pop-up events on our patio every once in a while, or another artist might show their work on our patio. We have book signings with special guests that just pop up miscellaneously. We do some great events. So February 1st, the anniversary of the lighting of the Point Conception Lighthouse lens, we have a woman named Chris Dixon coming out of New York City, and she does a Harriet Tubman impersonation.
Wow.
And she's an amazing singer, and she's going to be doing a presentation about Black lighthouse keepers and the role they played in keeping up with our lighthouses working. And we have a bunch of different exhibit openings. When we opened Dan Merkel's photography exhibit, Jove Wang. So really signing up and getting those weekly emails, and then just special discounts. You know, the holidays we'll usually do a discount in our store and things like that. So I highly recommend people follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and sign up for the weekly updates. Because there's always something, as you know, there's always so much going on that I can't even keep up with it, to be honest. So that's a nice way to keep up with what's going on. And again, coming to the museum, the Maritime Museum, you're just going to learn so much about our local Santa Barbara maritime history. That's really
great.
Fun.
Oh, thank you, Greg. I really appreciate you coming and sharing all this very fun information and important information with us.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you. And thanks for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.